Hey, what's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we are talking all things Paso Robles / Templeton Chamber with Gina Fitzpatrick and Krista Carpenter. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in, yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a long time.
This is
right?
fun. Yeah, we love being on this show too, so
Awesome.
I'm happy to be back.
Very cool. Well, congratulations last night on the new visitor center in Templeton.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot of things. Last night, grand opening, Templeton location. We're sharing a space with Diggs Vacation Rental. And so we're at, what's that address? 524 South Main Street, if anybody isn't
right across the street from the rec center. Everybody knows where that's at.
Right across from the rec center. I was saying Templeton Spirits, so thank you for adding the rec center to that. And so we absolutely loved it. It's a beautiful space. I think we had about 150 people come celebrate with us.
Nice.
Which was exciting. Yeah, we had Congressman Jimmy Panetta was there for the ribbon cutting, and Supervisor John Pashong, of course, was there. You saw him. You spoke with him. It was great. It was a fun event. It's just great to see the community and their reaction to what the things that we're doing in the community. You know, I think having a visitor center where people can really showcase themselves and maybe not be open on a Tuesday, but if we have a guest that comes in on a Tuesday to the visitor center, we can say, well, tomorrow morning first thing, you know, come into this business, they'll be open. And people really like that. They enjoy it in Paso. So then we also just exactly a week ago, had our grand opening in Paso Robles because we have a new location.
That's a big one. Is that one just only chamber?
No, so we're right on the corner of 13th and Spring Street it was formerly the Keller Williams building.
Okay.
And we've actually gone into that space with the Wine Alliance. And so
Gotcha.
it's about a 4,200 square foot building, and it's just a little bit more than what we needed. And so our partners in tourism and hospitality and all of those things related is the Wine Alliance. And so I talked to Joel and said, you know, just let's share resources. Does this make sense? And it really does. So both from a membership standpoint, people now can find us all in one location. I think the tourists are really appreciating the fact that we have that direct line to everything wine. So it's working really well. It's exciting. And so we just formally did our grand opening. We've been in the space and open since probably early January. And so it was just the final as far as celebrating with everybody else. And we had about somewhere around 450 people came into that event. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you guys it's a big city, you know, with businesses that are already part of the chamber. And so it's a great visual for the chamber, because where you guys were at before was kind of like, you know, wait, they're over here somewhere.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. People would say, oh my gosh, I go to Unagi all the time and never even knew that this is where you guys are. And then of course other people that come and see us weekly and you know, said, oh, love the new location because now there's parking and all of the other benefits that we have there being right on the corner. So yes, absolutely. It was time. It was that building that we were in was fantastic. Loved every minute of it. Yes. It was the old Smith building. It was, what was it before us? They had the sporting goods in there. And
okay, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it was more of like an outfitters type place. So it was a great building. We certainly appreciate everything the Smith family did and working with us along over the years, and it was fun. But it was time for something bigger and better and something more prominent.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to transition over to Krista.
Yes.
You are business development.
Business development
right?
and membership. Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about your history. How long have you been with the chamber? Did you grow up here? Tell me a little bit about
born
you.
and raised Northern California, the true Northern Cal, Redding area,
okay.
Red Bluff, and then moved to Bend, Oregon for 11 years. And then we just moved back here a year and a half ago. So I've been with the chamber a year and a half. Took the job, packed up my car, moved down, left my husband up in Oregon to finish up.
Is he still there?
Nope, he made his way down.
He made his way. Awesome.
Made his way down, and now we both are living here, working here, and our son goes to Cal Poly.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So we love it.
Were you with a chamber prior, or?
I was not. I was with a title and escrow company.
Okay.
So I was business development manager for a title and escrow company and worked very closely with our chambers. So was, immersed into the community, working with our chamber very closely and all the real estate agents and of course mortgage and lending. So it was a really good fit, I feel. I love connecting people. I love watching businesses grow and thrive and a community thrive. So
now you get to yeah, now you get to just introduce and meet all these businesses.
Yes, absolutely.
So with the chamber membership, you guys what do you guys currently have as far as members? Because there's quite a few businesses in Paso, right?
yes.
Yeah, we're about 8:30.
Yeah, we're
Wow.
up there and continue to grow.
That's awesome. Because there's businesses popping up everywhere. You know, I
Absolutely.
mean, just like next thing you know, you see something else popping up. So you're probably in the know of what's coming, right?
Well, we're working on that, right?
Yeah.
They're all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm opening a new business." It's like, "Wow, fantastic." But I love the fact that they call us. "Hey, I'm new to town. How can you help me?" And not at first they might not say, "Oh, I want to become a member," but they want to learn, right? They want to become part of the community. How can I do that? How can I get involved? So that's really our goal, is to really get them kind of immersed into the community and really thrive.
Yeah.
We continue to have the conversation about how involved a business needs to be in the chamber in order to succeed.
Yes.
And my take on it is as involved as you want to be, but it's not necessarily part of our requirement in any way for you to have to be present at all of the events and all the things. However, every single time somebody attends one of our events, we actually have a gentleman that we were working with during construction that has now started coming to our events, and he said, he just told me last night, "Gina, I just walked out, I have 6 new customers." And I was like, well, great, that's what this is about. And it's a grand opening. It wasn't necessarily specific to us having the mindset of how can we facilitate a networking environment any further than what we typically do. It was a grand opening, but he was excited and he left with 6 new customers, and I thought that was really cool.
And that's really what chamber is designed for: business development. You know,
Yes.
networking.
Yep.
You know, because a lot of
Resources,
people
yeah.
I mean, they look at the chamber as a resource,
Absolutely.
like a Yelp or something like
Yep.
that. Like who's the who. And so when you go to the chamber, or they reach out to you guys as a referral agency, you know, for, hey, who can we need some painting? We need,
Yep.
you know, some of this. Who do you recommend? You know, they look at you guys as like the leader of like steer people in the right direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really consider us, yes, a resource and a partner, a true partner. Like, how can we help one another, right? How can we help our community? That's the biggest thing.
So what's your next big project? What are you working on right now?
Well, we have quite a few, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, growing our community, and we have a bunch of new businesses getting ready to open up this summer. So that's, they're looking for small retail spaces, businesses to come in. So it's really kind of connecting people with those large businesses moving in and helping them. They're wanting to, you know, fill employment space. So
We're
connecting
also
that.
really working closely with the Atascadero Chamber of Commerce regarding the Hispanic business community, the Latino business community, and developing resources to where we can step in and help more there. We know that there's a gap in what we have provided in the past and in the way that it's been accessible to them. So in other words, social media is the first place that they go. We don't necessarily post, or we hadn't been posting resources directly on social media as often. And so we're starting to change our way of doing business in order to accommodate the Hispanic businesses throughout the entire North County. And I think that there will be great benefits to that because it really is an ecosystem, right? If one business is thriving, everybody's thriving.
Yeah.
And it really does matter that we're all together in this.
And just because it's Paso Chamber doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a business within Paso, right? You could be Templeton, Atascadero, San Luis,
Absolutely.
whatever, right?
Well, remember that we merged. So yes, you can be anywhere, but specifically we merged with the Templeton Chamber. So it's Paso Robles and Templeton that we truly represent. And then, but we have members from Creston, San Miguel, San Luis Obispo, all over. We have members.
So Gina, I want to step back. So you're born and raised here.
No, actually, I'm not.
No?
I'm not. No. So my mom I'm 5th generation. My
Okay.
mom her maiden name's Hartzell. And so the Hartzell family, my grandparents were born and raised here. And then my parents met at Cal Poly and actually raised us in the San Joaquin Valley. And then when I was 17 years old and I didn't understand why I was hanging out with people that had dirt on their pants and dogs in the back of their truck. And I moved to Monterey for a couple of years to marry a doctor or a lawyer. And I was there, like I said, for about 3 years, and my uncles called and said, "You need to be at this branding tomorrow morning." And I drove down in the wee hours of the morning and was standing in the middle of the branding pen and just was like, "What am I doing? This is my life. This is my family. This is who I am." And my little sister was going to school at Cal Poly. She was getting ready to start and said, "Be my roommate." And I was like, "Okay." So I've ultimately been here since '99.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been the CEO at the chamber?
Almost 10 years.
Wow.
July will be 10 years. I cannot believe it. Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So what did you do before that?
I was a banker.
Okay.
I was a vice president branch manager for Heritage Oaks Bank. And I did some business development for a very short period of time at Mission Community Bank. And then ended up going back over to Heritage and running the office there. It was the main office there in Paso.
So you've seen all the changes in Paso.
Yeah, I've
Almost
seen
been a
lot.
part of most of all of them too in the last 10
it was
years.
fun. It was great to go from so when I was actually at the bank, I was sitting on the board of the chamber, and they assigned me the role of what was the specific? It was economic development. I was the chair of economic development.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know what that meant. How do I succeed at this role? So I took a week off work, vacation, and went up to Sacramento. They had a specific course where you could become certified in economic development in that week. And so I graduated top of my class, I will
Nice.
say, first time in my life, but I paid attention and I loved everything about it. And I think it was my background in banking and helping small businesses and mid-sized businesses really succeed from the banking side of it, to be able to apply that to the real world and what that meant as far as economic development and communities and placemaking and all the other things that go with it. I learned more about infrastructure and why that matters, and kind of connected all of those dots. So then when this role came open for the CEO and everybody was nudging me, "Hey, you should try this." I'll put my name in the hat. I'm great where I am at the bank. I don't necessarily need a change in my life right now, but put my name in the hat, and next thing you know, here I am 10 years later. And so I gave myself 5 years. I said, I'll do this for about 5 years, and then I'll move on to whatever's next.
Yeah.
The 5-year
Wow.
mark was COVID, though. And so the business community, as we all know, was going through so many challenges. I couldn't walk away at that point. And I've truly in my life never worked harder. Those 14-hour days it was worth every second, because we had to, when you look at the North County and how much we succeeded as opposed to others, and it's kind of almost a word that nobody even thinks about it anymore, because it was just a hiccup. We moved past it, and there are other communities that are still really, really damaged as a result.
Right.
When I talk to other chamber CEOs and what's happened in their communities, it's phenomenal to see that for us, we're done. We're over it. We've moved
It
on.
was a crazy time.
It was a crazy time, yeah. So at that point, I said, "All right, I'll do another 5 years." And here we are now.
Uh-oh, so now what?
Well, now we have the 2 new locations. Now we have, and now our goals have shifted, and our strategic plan is actually in the process right now of being written, so that we can look at some of these initiatives. And I'm just not done yet. I'm still loving it, every single second of it. There's so much to do in the chamber industry, because it varies so much between economic development and community development, and bringing more resources and all of that piece. Workforce development is something that I just absolutely, it excites me. How do you connect interns with businesses and ensure that businesses have the staffing that they need? How do you bring more head of household jobs to the North County so that people can actually buy these $1 million homes that are on the market? It's balancing all of those things, and then looking back at the infrastructure. Is there something we need to advocate for? Our board opted to advocate for the paid parking in Paso, and having a paid parking program in Paso. And so we advocated in favor of that. It, of course, did not, and in our favor,
Right.
which was fine. It wasn't. I never looked at it as a them or us kind of a thing. I understand why it was opposed.
There's pros and cons, to
Absolutely.
that.
Everything,
So,
right?
and they all make sense.
100%, absolutely agree with you. Yes, I think that, but that's just an example of the types of things that when we're looking at advocating locally for infrastructure needs, that would be one of them. So I like the fact that every day looks different. There's just so much diversity in everything that we do as far as the specific initiative or the project is concerned. But yet at the end of the day, it all funnels back in together, and it's all about the community, the business community, and the community as a whole.
So, Krista, is Red Bluff similar to like our area?
It is. It is. Lots of ranching. It used to be lots of timber, lumber. There's a couple more mills. There are quite a few ranches. Also, where we lived up in Redmond, which is just outside of Bend, is very similar. Very touristy, very small community. So the transition was pretty easy. And I truly am a small town girl. Like, that's my passion, is how can we really get our small town community thriving? And really we want people to come here, and we want to give them a reason to come here and come visit. So that tourist and the draw, and that's what we talk about a lot, is what else can we draw people here to, right? We have an amazing wine country. We have Cal Poly's a huge draw, the beach. Like, what else can we do to draw people here and bring families?
Yeah, we see Sensorio, of course, coming.
Yes.
Sensorio has already seen 220,000 people this year.
Wow.
220,000 people, and we're in April. That in itself. And so we just went, I think it was Thursday, last week, maybe Thursday night, it was a soft opening, or it was a VIP event for us to be able to see their new exhibit. And so then Friday was their grand opening, and that's just going to draw even more people. And you look at what the Ravine Water Park is doing, and Brett's always had the idea of building on to the water park itself, and so that's happening, and that's in the
So what? Hold on, let's back up. What's happening?
Yeah.
Well, at the water park.
Not specific to the water park,
okay.
but they're talking about bringing in like an RV park that's really kid friendly, that has activities for people to be able to bring kids. That any night of the week, there's s'mores and bingo and all of those fun family activities.
Because they kind of use that little hut tiki, area for like events. Like, I think you can rent it and stuff too, right?
Yeah, there's different parts of the park. We actually, so we'll maybe talk about it later, or I'll just share right now. One of the things over the years that I'm the most excited about, that really just is a favorite for me, is Leadership North County. And so Leadership North County, another one of the reasons why I really wanted to work for the Chamber is because I wanted to bring a leadership program to the North County. South County has a leadership program. San Luis has been running a leadership program for many, many years. But there's just kind of a gap in the North County, and so when I came on, I went and met with Linda Hendy. She was the CEO at the time of the Atascadero Chamber, and I said, I have this idea. I want to bring forward a leadership program. And she said, no, don't hold, pause. I have all the curriculum ready to go. I'm getting ready to launch this. Let's do it together. Please sit on this board. It's a nonprofit board that is overseeing the program. And I said, great, fantastic. I want to support this. So sat on the board. It's the North County Economic Foundation. We were overseeing the program administrator and the program in itself. And then because of COVID, the program was quiet. We weren't really able to operate. And then fast forward to 2023 probably. And it was, okay, what's next? How do we revive this and bring it back? And ultimately, Josh Cross and he said, I'll support you, but will you actually facilitate the day-to-day operations of the program? And I said, yes, absolutely. So this is now our second year. So it was Class 5 and Class 6 that we have start to finish executed the program, which means that we've put together a weekend-long retreat for this leadership class. You apply to be in the class, and not everybody's accepted, but it's been, I think, about 15 participants each year. Then go through the weekend-long retreat, as well as 9 program days. And those program days it's one Friday a month, and it's everything from health and human services to agriculture day. We have, what was this last month was tourism and hospitality, arts and culture day. Goodness, what am I missing? There's so many. Yeah, military and public service. And so we do everything from, we see the inner workings and the back end of the jail and the things that people, don't typically get to experience. We take them out to Camp Roberts. We've gotten to go to, with Health and Human Services Day, we actually went down to the brand new Sobering Center down in San Luis, which was very eye-opening to me. I didn't even know that sobering centers, I didn't understand what sobering centers were, and that was really cool to be able to see that it really truly is a place for people to go that need a moment. They just need a second. Maybe they need some resources, maybe not. Maybe they have resources, but they just need a spot that's a safe place to sober up. So we really looked at this program as a whole and the way that it was originally designed and kept the basis of it. But then over the years, things have changed, people have changed, players have changed. And so now we've added a little bit more as far as the inner working side of it, maybe, and it's just been a phenomenal success. I'm so proud of what we've done, and I'm so proud of the groups. Both Class 5, the graduating class from last year, they still meet on a continuous basis. We're talking about bringing forward an alumni program, which I think will be phenomenal because at this point it's almost 100 people that have gone through the Leadership North County. I think it's actually just over.
That's awesome.
And so how do we keep those groups thriving and ensure that, and hopefully ultimately they do decide to become a city council member or a county supervisor or sit on a school board or utilize that knowledge in a way that is going to benefit the whole community.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and that's another role that the chamber plays in, as far as like you said, business development, leadership. So Krista, what kind of, like, when you walk into a new business, they just opened up, you're like,
Yep.
what do you talk to them about? What are some of their concerns or their,
Yeah.
pros and cons of the
Great
chamber?
question. It's, really, I want to get to know them. I want to get to know their business. I always ask, what are your wants? What are your needs? How involved do you want to get into your community? Because those are some questions that they really need to ask themselves. Why do I want to become a member of my Chamber of Commerce? A lot of times people ask you, what does the Chamber of Commerce do?
Right.
So, we really answer their questions, like exactly, Leadership North County, getting involved in your community, getting on a board. My biggest passion is our younger generation, is getting them involved in different events, activities, volunteering, just asking them to be part of us and we become part of you. Just getting to know them, answering any questions that they have, and let's link arms. Let's do this, and let's really become part of a community.
Awesome. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So when you came here, a year ago?
A year and a half.
So what are some of the, like, when you came to this area, I'm assuming that you've been here before prior
Yes.
to that, right?
Yep.
What was some of the businesses or venues that you were like, wow, this is just right here in this small town? Which are the ones that impressed you the most?
There's so many.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so many amazing restaurants, wineries. It's funny listening to all of us talk here. There's one main connection, Cal Poly, right?
Right.
My husband went to Cal Poly many years ago. My son's at Cal Poly on the rodeo team. Like, I knew a lot of people here. I didn't know them on a real personal level, but we knew them. Many connections. This community is connected, and there's really one big word that stands out, and that's Cal Poly. And that tells you a lot of things, right? Ag community. People want to stay here. They want to get involved in the farming, the ag, the ranching, all of it. So just driving around, looking around, there's just so many things here for people.
And you're seeing growth like crazy. Like, we
Yes.
were talking about, COVID, which, what do you recall what the membership was during COVID? Did it dip?
What?
Did it go up?
We actually ended up doing so well. No, we thought we had actually prepared ourselves because we were watching as other chambers were just saying, I'm losing members left and right. I don't know what to do. And we actually had a really high retention. We remained between an 88% and a 92% retention rate almost through the entirety of COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, it was incredible. I think a lot of it was we hadn't merged with Templeton at that time. So we developed Paso Strong, and we were a big resource for pushing out information. That was helpful. In addition to that, we also worked really closely with our partners, both Travel Paso, the Wine Alliance, and the Main Street Organization, and we brought forward, what did we call it at the time? Oh my goodness, it was Dining in the Park, and where we were keeping, because in Paso specifically, the restaurants, the downtown area is the heart of our community. And we know that because of the ecosystem, I guess people will, when I say ecosystem, people will ask sometimes, why are you spending time with, I probably shouldn't say on the air, but like a Subway is the best example I can give. But they matter too. Everybody matters. As you know, why are you picking one over another? It's not picking anybody. Every single business matters, because if an employer comes in with 75 employees, they're going to have employees that are at all different rates of pay. We need to be able to have all different options for those employees to have lunch, have dinner, bring friends into town, all of those pieces. If we don't have strong schools, we can't attract more workforce. That if they have young children, they're looking at those pieces. So we need a strong school system and have a strong, both Templeton and Paso, of course, in order to support that. But it's important that we, the chamber, continue to be involved in that. And how can we help to build you or give you more resources? Is there a gap that we can help fill? Because it really does matter. It's all about the attraction, but also the sustainability of our community. And so that's
But
what I mean.
you guys
by
also
that.
helped to advocate for the businesses being out in the streets and really kept that alive. I mean, the North County was like a different, like Paso, was like still thriving, and it was almost like during that time frame, because everybody else was closed.
Right.
People were coming here. I loved the restaurants in the street. I thought that was awesome.
Right.
So-
A lot of people did. And that's still a conversation. The city of Paso Robles recently, it was in June, they adopted a new economic development strategic plan. And as a result of that plan, we, the chamber, have a close relationship with the city specific to economic development. And so we are looking at some of those pieces that are written throughout that plan. And part of it does include our downtown and how do we keep a strong downtown. It doesn't mean that, everything else that is around the downtown matters. Everything that's in the outskirts matters, because people want to be able to have a variance. They want to enjoy lots of different aspects of our communities. And people come to us and say, I'm here, I'm staying here, but I want to go to Hearst Castle. I want to go to the beach. What else can I do? So we send them out to Santa Margarita Adventures. They want to go zip lining. We have to have multiple offerings in order to be able to accommodate our guests. And it's also, for me personally, it's also a balance, right? Because I loved going to AJ Spurs. Main Street,
why'd you have to say that? I
Templeton,
miss the soup.
as a kid and being able to run across the street and not have to be worried about cars hitting us and all of those things. I am one of those that I don't always love change. I love the small town feel. I do wish that it was just us and we could live in our bubble and we could operate the way that we did 30 years ago. But life changes, things change, and so in order to grow properly, we have to have money. We have to support the infrastructure. We have to support the ecosystem. We have to keep everything at a balanced level. And so we're seeing all of this growth specific to Paso. It's really incredible growth, but are we balancing the right way? Are we looking at all aspects of this? And that's kind of what we try to keep our eye on as well. Do we have too many hotels? Do we have too many hotel rooms?
Is that possible?
It is possible.
To have too many
Absolutely,
hotels?
it's possible. So we have about 16,000 rooms online, 1,600 rooms online right now. And once these new hotels are completely built out, I think we'll be somewhere right around 2,000. And so,
Hold on.
Sure.
Now, when you say online, that means collectively with all the different hotels, those are the available spaces, rooms that you guys have.
Yep, exactly.
Within the city.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Not
yes.
including Airbnbs or nothing like that.
No, I don't think that number. I
Okay.
think it's about 1,800 if you include the Airbnbs.
Okay.
But then you look at Napa, and Napa has 16,000 rooms.
Wow.
And so, do we think that we're at capacity now? I don't know. If you're comparing us to other wine regions and seeing their success, we have a long way to go before we hit 16,000.
Right.
So it's not. I'm not saying that we have too many online right now. No, that's not my take on it personally at all. I just think it's important that we always continue to look at that and balance that.
And I know this isn't your position per se, but as far as like the housing, within the city, it's like, okay, hotels are great, this and that, but what about, like the kids, your son?
Absolutely.
Sure.
When I first moved here, I met some real estate agents at a ribbon cutting, like my first week, and that was a discussion, that we talked about was we have so many amazing kids coming out of Cal Poly that want to stay here and start a business or go to work for some of our amazing businesses here, but they can't because of the affordability of housing and the shortage of housing. So how do you correct that? How do you make that better, right? I notice there's not a lot of building going on here compared to where I came from. And so, but I do see it starting. There's new developments coming in. But how do you make that work for these kids coming out of college to get a job and start a life? And it's challenging.
And my answer to that is the head of household jobs. So the part about, I'll say economic development and what I learned the most when I went through that course is the diversification of your economy. What we're heavily focused in certain areas, and are we balanced? If something tragic happens, such as the fires that happened in Napa, are we strong enough to support ourselves without that one industry? Or are we so reliant upon any one industry that we can't sustain ourselves without it? And so really diversifying our economy, that does bring in more head of household jobs. Yes. Looking at what's happening with the spaceport in Paso at the airport. And of course, we don't know 100% that we're still working through that process, and we don't know 100% how many jobs that's going to create. It's impossible, I think, to be able to give a specific number at this point, but seeing how many people this has brought to us that are so interested from all over the world, literally from all over the world, that are coming to us and saying, this is really exciting. I want to be a part of this. Where can I buy land? Or how do I start a business now, my business now, operating here in Paso, so I'm well prepared once the spaceport's up and running. And so it's all of those head of household jobs.
When is that development? Like a couple years?
Yeah, they're still going through the process of submitting the application to the FAA and hearing back from them. Then they'll score us and they'll come back and say, yes, but you need to change this, this, and this, or yes, it's a go, everything's perfect. It's still a bit of a process to go through. So I would say, yeah, but probably 2 years.
Do you think that area will be the next boom as far as like restaurants and, retail and shopping and stuff like that?
Personally, yes, I do.
Because they got the space out there.
Mm-hmm. They have the room to grow. We also have Majestic Realty purchased the old boys' school. Gosh, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and they continue to go through the process with the city of their design and what they're doing with that. I think it's 160 acres, if I remember correctly, maybe 180, but I think it's 160 acres out there, and looking at all of that to bring in more hotels, a lot of space to be able to have crush facilities was one conversation that they were having. They were looking at storage space at one time for more wine. They've looked at all different aspects of it. So looking at their blueprint and the number of jobs that they'll bring to the area, and then how that will complement the spaceport part of it, it's exciting. And yes, it's again those head of household jobs.
Yeah, because they'll bring in the house jobs, like you said, and you just need more houses.
Right, yeah. And so no matter what you are opting in and for your head of household job, Is it marketing? Is it, are you a 3D printer? What is it that is in your wheelhouse or your skill set? This will inevitably be available through these. It doesn't mean that you have to have a degree in space technology, or that you need to be the person that is building these, what are those things called that they put out into the, it's not, it doesn't have to be specific to space in order to create that job.
Awesome. Well, so Gina, tell me a little bit about these Templeton events coming up. You got Women in Business.
4th
you
of
got
July is
4th
next.
of July. You got,
Yeah.
I mean, all kinds of stuff. What you guys do the parade, right?
Yeah.
Or in partnership with Rotary, right?
No, actually, so Rotary does the entire parade by them, but on independently. That's a Rotary thing, and then our side of it is the park.
Gotcha.
And so we open I call it the beer garden, but it's, what do we have? Mimosas, margaritas.
Yep, Bloody Marys last year.
Oh,
Bloody
yeah.
Mary's always. And,
Quite the hit.
exactly. And we bring the band in, and we accommodate everything, all of the the bounce houses and the fun activities for the kids, the booths, where we will have very soon, within the next probably week, the application for people that want to have booths. People have great success in selling all different things out of those booths. That's always a fun one for people to be able to come in. It's, a very, very small version of a farmer's market in a sense, but people love that part of it. And then just being able to be out there and listen to Joy Boner, and she's
That's who's
great.
playing it? Is that
Joy
who's playing
Boner.
this year? Okay.
Yeah. Again, back by popular demand, everybody loves her, and so she'll be there, and it's a fun event for us. We have a blast. So that Women in Business was a program that as we were essentially signing the paperwork with the Templeton Chamber, when they had come to us and said, are you willing to look at potentially merging organizations? It was, well, what events are you interested in us keeping, and how does this look? Women in Business was a top priority, and so we were at Ian McPhee's. He's such an amazing
Great community
man.
supporter.
Oh,
yes.
gosh,
My
he's
goodness.
so generous.
Yeah.
For a long period of time, but he was opening, and we got to the point where we were having to turn so many people away at each one of the luncheons. We had just reached maximum capacity, that it was time to find a new location. We were out at Tooth and Nail for a little while. They've taken a break, as everybody knows.
Yeah, weren't they going to do a run? They kept posting that, and people were like, "Aren't you guys close?" It was, I don't know. Anyways, go on.
Yeah, they're not operating at this moment. And so we were at Tooth and Nail, and then our friends Rich and Martha Clayton, who own Cal Coast Beer Company, California Beer Company, they have an event space called Patina. So they hosted us for the last 2 months, and now we get to launch at Bella Sarah,
Oh, wow.
which was La Bella Sarah previously, now rebranded to Bella Sarah, next to the Hampton and over by Target. So we'll be there today, actually, for Women in Business. And I think we have 89 people registered. So we, more and more, we were hitting that max capacity at McPhee's at about 60, 62 people we could get in the door, and then we've quickly grown. So at 1 month we were almost at 100, and I just see the program continuing to grow. It's fun.
So for somebody that owns a business, women, what can they expect when they go to Women in Business?
Sure, I'll let Krista talk about that part, but I will say that it's not just women. We do have men, absolutely, that are joining us at every single luncheon. So I think that it's branded as Women in Business, but it's an educational opportunity for everybody and networking. But
it's probably my favorite event that we do host monthly. So we typically have a nonprofit speaker that can come and speak for about 5 minutes to 7 minutes, talk about their nonprofit. We also do a spotlight speaker, which is kind of a paid advertisement for that business if they would like to speak. And they can really pitch their business. It's truly an advertisement in front of everybody. You can talk about your business and what you offer and your services. And then we typically have a keynote speaker that is 30 minutes long. So, and all during that program, people are getting to enjoy a great meal, network. We give them time to network. We have just a great time of getting to know people. and hearing about businesses, nonprofits. Nonprofits come and speak. I had no idea they were even around, so it's great. We get to hear about it and learn about it. Also, our keynote speakers are there to really kind of educate and inform people of something that's going on in the business world.
Who's going to be there today?
Utah, I hate to say that, but she is coming to speak about just thriving businesses and how to really boost your team and your business internally.
And so evidently it's a membership for women in business to be a part of it?
Nope.
Oh, it's not?
Nope. Members and non-members, if you are a member, you get a little bit of a discount. But if you're not a member, please come, sign up, and enjoy a wonderful day of networking and education.
So it's kind of like a more of a sit-down mixer type
Yep.
event.
It's about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right. When the doors open and there's time to network then, and then we officially start the program at 11:30 and we go until about 1 o'clock, but then lots of people stay after. And then during the program, because there are a couple of breaks, people get to mingle with people at their table and get up, and we do self-introductions at the very beginning so everybody knows who's in the room. So if there's one specific person that, I've been meaning to do business with this person, or I've always wanted to meet so-and-so, they have an opportunity to go over and say hello and introduce themselves and exchange contact info.
And you guys are at the Bellicera, which, so people know where that's at. That is over there on Theater Drive, right there behind now the new motel.
Yeah, the River Lodge.
River Lodge. Over there in I think Osh.
Yes.
Orchard
yeah,
Supply.
Exactly. Target.
Yeah.
Yes. All of that.
Over there.
Yeah.
And prior to them, doing their renovation and stuff like that, the restaurant was phenomenal. And so now that it's been redone, there's a new head chef, right?
Yes.
Yep.
New management. So I wonder what that's going to bring.
They've been wonderful to work with. So Carol, who does the sales, she's sales manager there at Bellicera. She was new, and we connected through the Hampton Inns, and I kind of put it in her brain a little bit of looking for a space. And so it just kind of progressed that way, and it worked out well after their renovation. And so we're really excited to be there today and can't wait to try the lunch and just get to be a part of it.
It's really cool to see those three, the River Lodge, Bellicera, and the Hampton Inn, because Hampton Inn also just had a complete renovation as well. And it's phenomenal. They invited us probably 2 months ago, I would guess. 2 or 3 months ago, we were there and we toured the space. It's absolutely beautiful. They've done just an amazing job. The rooms are there's serenity and calm when you walk in the door, and they're really, really pretty rooms.
The staff are amazing.
Yeah.
Just so welcoming and friendly.
Yeah.
And then the hotel across the way, that's up on the hill.
Yeah.
That's going to add however many more rooms. I mean, that thing's huge.
Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to remember. I'm not even going to throw out a number because
It's
I don't
not
remember.
as many as I thought.
Yes.
Really?
Because it's a residence inn.
Right.
So they're bigger.
They're bigger, and they
Gotcha.
have a little kitchen and long-term stays.
Yes.
But they're anticipating this summer as well to open up. So
Gosh, that is what, just like I said, the growth. I mean, it's kind of stopped for a year probably for
Yeah.
the rain, and I think there was some
issues.
alleged issues,
Yeah.
but they picked back up and jammed
Right.
with that.
And we have
Full
Hotel
speed.
Ava in downtown Paso.
coming.
They'll be open soon. I think they're targeting end of May, it's looking like.
Yeah, hopefully middle of summertime is their goal to be up and running.
So
That's going to offer a lot too.
yeah,
Rooftop dining. Yeah, so it's going to
So
be
Gina,
fun.
tell me about the Christmas tree auction.
Oh
What's
my
that all
gosh,
about?
the Christmas tree auction. So the Templeton Chamber every year did a Christmas tree auction. And so we were talking to people in the community. And so Krista spends a ton of time in Templeton. She lives in Templeton, as you know, and so I would say that she almost splits her time 50-50, which is impossible if you're looking at an every single week basis. But overall, it's probably about 50-50 where she's between Templeton and Paso. All that said, more and more people that we were talking to said, well, we missed the Christmas tree auction. I had never put on a Christmas tree auction in my life and said, all right, well, let's do this, team. If you guys want to bring it back, let's bring it back. So talked to our board. Our board said, yes, absolutely, if this is what you want to do. And so this past year was our first time of bringing forward the Christmas tree auction. So we had it at the Vets Hall in downtown Templeton. 185 people, I think. I mean, we really pushed it to its limits. And 13 businesses built Christmas trees, decorated Christmas trees with all kinds of fun things. Some had gift cards, some had, what are some other examples?
All kinds of
themed
gifts,
trees. We had a
themes,
Disney
yeah.
themed tree that had all kinds of fun stuff for Disney on it, you know, Mickey and Pluto and all
We're
the fun
talking
stuff.
real
And
Christmas trees? Or
live
Yeah.
or not live. Some,
Okay.
I think most of them were artificial, but
yeah.
all beautifully lit up and all the things. So put them all on the stage, 13 trees. And then if you were a business that signed up and said yes, and we actually had to stop accepting trees because we didn't really know what the event looked like. And so we said, okay, our cap is 13 this year. And so as you were introducing the fact that you wanted to decorate a tree and bring it to the auction, you also were selecting a nonprofit organization that would benefit as a result of the sale of the tree. So then we brought in an auctioneer, and he and I auctioned off all 13 of the trees, and then whichever nonprofit had been named, which is we of
For that
course shared
specific
that
tree.
Yep.
for that specific tree. So cancer support, Echo. The list just goes on. The JB Doers Tractor Restoration Program benefited, Templeton Women's Charitable Club, all of these things, and California Coast Beer Company. I think their tree sold for $6,000.
Wow.
They, I think, were the biggest winners. California Coast Beer Company, and then we had one other tree sell for like
lot.
$5,600 or something.
Yeah.
It was just
Wow.
Miller Drilling is just
Yes.
so phenomenal. They've
Yes.
been lifelong family friends of ours and my family. So I absolutely know and love them. But to see them also step up, they were our business of the year, and then to see their engagement and how they support the community, it's why they were the business of the year. They're just so phenomenal, and it was great to see that as well. So yeah, so 13 nonprofit organizations benefited directly from the sale of these trees, and so it wasn't about the chamber and us being able to make money. For us, it was a complete wash, but it was so fun. I smiled I'm
was.
smiling now. I smiled for weeks. It was such a good feeling to be able to give back and to watch, especially right before Christmas time.
So Gina, who puts in all this? I mean, who puts the ideas? I mean, do you guys all get together as a team? They go,
We do.
hey, Hey, what's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we are talking Primal House, one of the hottest places in the North County that you do not want to miss. And we're talking with Elisa and Bud here from Primal House, and we're going to learn more about what is happening over there and what it all is. Right? Welcome in. Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Bud, you obviously have the cattle. You look like a cattle guy,
Yeah.
right? And so the meat and everything at Primal House is your cattle.
Yeah, and we do work with a couple other ranchers and stuff. So that's kind of what we wanted to bring the butcher shop and the market back to the farmer and rancher. So as long as we keep the quality up, and we want to be able to work with other cattle ranchers as well too. So, but yes, the main source is we're bringing in our own cattle, and we got another guy named Myron Costanza. He feeds our cattle too, and he's got great genetics too. So we're just been working with good vendors and trying to bring it back to the farmer and the rancher.
So Alyssa, tell me, whose idea was a restaurant like this?
We started off with the butcher shop, and I've always wanted to have like an old school market. I like the old times, 20s, 30s, that kind of era. And so with the ranching and everything, we thought it'd be cool to bring it all the way through with being able to eat the meat as well, and having it you can see it be butchered, showcase it in the case, and then be able to eat it. So it just kind of all came together as one big idea.
And are you from here? Are you?
I'm not. I'm from Bakersfield.
Okay.
I recently moved over here. My parents have
Parents been here for a
since-
while?
Yeah, since 2012. So
And
like
so-
the area.
So who searched out this location
The actual location,
where you guys are at right now?
we were just kind of looking and drove past the freeway and saw the for sale sign, and it being right there and easy access and right off the freeway where people can see it. We thought it'd be a good place to be.
So you guys are located on Ramada Drive, kind of right there on the corner. They call that not Tin City, but they call what did
Ramada Row is what
Ramada
yeah.
Row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right there on the corner of Ramada Drive, right before you turn down there. So right there on the right hand side, kind of down a little bit.
Yes.
So it's kind of like in a funky spot. You know, I mean, you have to have, you know, it sneaks up on you.
Yeah. It looks industrial, so a lot of people
Right.
miss it, and so yeah.
But the most important thing is when you walk into it, like for myself, when I walked into the place the first time, I immediately felt like comfortable.
Yes.
You know, it was a comfortable atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, the construction inside is just it's amazing. You know, it's very light, very like bright when you walk in, and then you kind of walk into the bar area. You know, with the wood and the brick. You know, the walls, and then you have all the distills back there too, which is so everything's just right there. Tell me about the vision of that.
Kind of like the whole, didn't want to go with the regular typical like farm look and that's kind of going around, and I like the gangster era with the
Gangster era.
with
Tommy
Al
guns.
Capone and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and so the speakeasies underground, so we kind of brought all that together. And with butchery starting in Chicago with the stockyards and stuff, that's kind of what the back end is supposed to be like. You're in an alley out there where the brewery is, and then there's the dining room and stuff that looks like different buildings you can walk into. And
Interesting. Yeah, because Tracy was telling me on Saturday that you had, maybe, so he said, he didn't say who, but maybe he did, but he goes, they got vision of, you know, like what you just said,
Yeah.
of having like their other rooms, but they're, you know, just the facade, just
Yeah.
nothing's in there.
yeah,
So that's your vision.
yes,
And he's like, I don't know. He goes, they just want me to do this and that or whatever. I'm like, hey, that's a great idea.
right. Kind of told it to interior designer, my ideas, and she put it to the book exactly how I kind of envisioned it. So
And then your parents are involved too, right?
yes, my parents, I have worked for my parents all my life, and so we've had this dream for a long time, and so they decided to fund it for me, and so they're my business partners in that aspect.
Awesome. So did they had the butcher shop over in Bakersfield?
No, they're from oil. They have an oil field background.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so we've done oil fields.
So, but you have, so the butcher shop was yours?
No, we knew that to be able to take the generation to the next step, that we needed to be able to sell our own product, and that we were always selling commercially, and we still do, but be able to, if we wanted the next generation to kind of go on, that we wanted the meat to be able to push that forward and be able to cut out the middleman on some of it. And so that was kind of where we got together and we started building the butcher shop over there, and it was pretty much like a butcher box kind of a deal that you would call in, and we would put together the box, and then you would come and pick it up. It was in a little small warehouse. We had 2 little cooler. It wasn't no front counter or nothing like that. So we were very limited on what we could do, and that's kind of where we went with this, and so that we could be so diversified through the whole business, so that we could cook it, process it, put it in the front case, all the way down to selling wholesale to restaurants, stuff like that.
So has the cattle been in your family for a while?
Yeah, 5 generations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and my dad's 83 years old, and he's still running today. And our family, my brother's a truck driver, hauls cattle, very prominent in the cattle business. He just got Cattleman of the Year in Kern County. And
Oh, very
so,
cool.
yeah, so we've been been after it for a while, you know. And,
Do you have a name? Is there a name for it?
no, just Cole Ranch, and we just kind of go off of our family name. So
Okay.
yeah, we have a few different places, different ranches, so we never really called anything, you know. One never really stuck out, you know.
So you have cattle on other people's ranches as well.
We lease some places, yeah, but we have a lot of old ranches that my grandfather had, and my dad took over, and my dad's bought quite a bit of different ground, and I bought a piece from my grandfather about 10, 12 years ago, and yeah, so.
Now, do you stick with any particular breed of cattle for your meats, or?
We run an Angus cross, so we do an Angus, and we ran a Romanola bull in there for a little bit just to bring back the bone into the animal, and then we kind of phased that one back out. But we're pretty much all Angus.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so then you had the vision to bring this whole restaurant concept, and with the butcher's block, with the meats, this experience. I mean, it's really an experience. You know, you walk in, you have the experience, and you have the butcher in there cutting everything up too, right? I didn't
Yes.
see that. Is
Yeah.
that right when you walk in?
Right when you walk in to the right, there's a big window, and you could see. It might have been, if it was in the evening, maybe the lights were out already. But yes, they're there in the morning and processing every day.
I think I was mesmerized by the bar.
I think a lot of people walk in because there's 2 doors entrance. They'll walk past the primal meat door into the primal house door, not realizing it's all the one building is the whole entire place. And they walk in and they're kind of overwhelmed by the aspect. But with all, hospitality has been our major point, that we wanted to bring hospitality back and make sure people felt comfortable. And so I think when they come in, and there's always somebody there to help them and check in on them, that they come in and they stay for a while. Without the anticipation that that's what they were going to do.
But the hospitality thing, so your parents are in the oil industry, Bud's in the cattle industry, so it was more or less just you in the hospitality industry, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Kind of?
I mean, I've always done oil fields too. I like going to a place and being treated well, and I know it caters to a lot of the tourists, and we wanted to cater a lot to the locals, and so have locals feel welcome and recognize when they come back in, and see them happy to come back in, and there's a place that they can come hang out, and no reservations needed. And
How long was the build out for it? Because I think it was like a grow place beforehand, so
Yeah.
you guys did a lot of remodeling.
we gutted the building. It was 3 years.
It took you 3 years to do
us
that?
3 years. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
We have-
between county and everything else, permits and just building out. Yeah, it took us a while. We figured it would probably be a year, and it just stretched out. And
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
yeah,
We've been in there for 3 years.
yeah,
That's amazing. Because I live in Templeton and drive that way every single day, and I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I did see activity, but it wasn't a lot of activity at once. Now we know why, because it took 3 years to do.
Yeah.
yeah.
And now, do you have that whole building all the way to the back side?
Yeah, the whole 800 square feet. Yeah, from front to
Wow.
back.
Yeah. So
Holy
yeah, at first when we went by it and we were looking at the building, we were like, oh, it's way too big. And then when we got in there, now it's way too small.
I mean, you guys have been open.
Yeah.
You haven't done your official big grand opening yet,
No,
right? It's
still
all kind of
working
been
out.
soft.
Yeah.
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 And so you're just kind of working out the kinks and kind of understanding this. I mean, you have a restaurant now. You have a
Yeah.
restaurant. You have a bar. You have the butcher shop. You have all these things that are kind of surprising, probably.
Yeah. Yes, because even starting the build out of the building, we kind of had a different floor plan, and then we were lucky enough to meet our USDA consultant, Jim Fogel, and he kind of came in and looked at the building and was like, "Hey, we need to rearrange things." So we kind of moved the butcher shop from one end of the building clear to the other side of the building, and then with the brewery, we've been lucky to find our brewer Brett and our chef Drew, and to help us out in those aspects where we weren't really professionals on that, so they've been able to help in and step in. And help us get everything going.
Well, I tell you what, Drew knows how and knows when somebody says, medium rare, that they want a medium rare,
Oh yeah.
burger. And I can't, even now I'm talking to you about that burger. I'm like, my mouth is salivating, but it was so good. It was, and it wasn't, sometimes when you buy, a $17 burger, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
is it worth it at the end? This is more than worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was a thick, juicy burger that was so delicious, and it was medium rare.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this chef knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does a very good job of making the meat, like the flavor in the meat, stand out.
Yeah.
Because you can get a burger and you're like, there's just no flavor here, but he does a really good job at that.
So did you handpick all these people? Like you got Susan up at the, managing the whole thing.
Yes.
You got Brett and
Stacy.
Stacy,
Yeah.
Mixing up some stuff. You got Troy, behind the bar. You got Drew, in the kitchen. So did you handpick all these people?
Yeah, we've interviewed all these people and kind of made sure that they can fit in the positions that we want and they have our vision. And yes, Brett and Drew were a blessing in disguise, and they came to us within a week trying to search for somebody. So.
And you guys brew your own beers too.
Yes, Brett brews all our beers in house.
So you have only your mixtures of
Beer.
beers.
Beers, yeah, and craft sodas. He makes 4 different craft sodas: a root beer, orange cream, fruit
Fruit punch, lemon
punch,
lime, and
yeah.
he's got a few other ones coming
Yeah.
too. A cherry Coke and some.
And
stuff
then
on-
you also have like a non-alcoholic mocktail options.
Yes.
Some of these non-alcoholic gins that Troy was, giving us little tasters of, and
Yeah.
so you have a little bit of something for everything. It's
Exactly.
for everybody.
Cater to everybody. Yeah.
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 then
That
the
way, a big
fries.
party comes in and somebody doesn't want to drink, they don't have to have a water or soda. They can have a mocktail as well.
And so you guys are open every day,
Yes. Except
and you have
Mondays.
music every day too.
Yes. We're open Tuesday through Sunday, but Tuesday through Saturday is 9 to 7, and Sunday is 10 to 6. And we have music from 5 to 7 every day, except Sundays is 4 to 6.
Awesome. And then you have like a little
Monday.
outside patio.
Mm-hmm.
People can sit outside, overlooks kind of the creek area.
Yeah.
Get a little. I don't even know what I'm looking for, but it's just a fun experience. You
Yeah.
know, we've had a really good time, and everybody that I know that's been in there. We were talking with Tracy, which was the gentleman that built everything inside.
Did all our woodwork, yeah.
Did all the woodwork, and when you said speakeasy, I didn't think of speakeasy when I was talking to him, because I asked him, I said, is that like repurposed, or did you build that? He said he built it.
Yeah.
And so, but speakeasy now makes more sense than, because I was thinking like like a Western
Yeah.
kind of theme.
Kind of like blended that whole speakeasy, westerny aspect of throughout the whole place. Try to get that.
It would be cool if you did have a speakeasy down
It
below.
would, right? It would be.
Tracy, can you build that?
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. So what's been the receiving of it for the community so far?
It's been really great. The locals have ate it up. It's been great, and that's who we were wanting to cater to. So to see them love it and appreciate it and be glad it's there has really been a blessing.
Yeah, it's been nice. Everybody, we wanted everybody to feel like they were family when they came in, and that's what a lot of people have felt. They're like, I don't know what this place does to us, but we feel like we're connected to it. And we have a lot of people that are just, repeat, because we haven't really broadcasted it out very much besides just word of mouth and.
Well, that's best. That's the
Media.
best way.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're pretty much the first person that we've kind of went out. And,
Oh, awesome.
And
Well, we're thankful for coming on and
Yeah.
sharing the story and the journey with
yeah,
us.
we appreciate being on here too.
Yeah, we love being in there.
Yeah.
So you will see us there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're talking about the Primal House, which is on Ramada Drive in
Ramada Row.
Ramada Row,
Yes.
Yep.
which is right there on the corner before you go down to Tin City. You'll see it right there on the corner. You see big red, white Primal House.
Yep.
Going so what is your menu? How do you decide your menu? So I guess you have a burger, which I know, and I guess you have some other stuff that I heard the cheese
cheesesteak.
the cheesesteak is really good.
Yes.
So who comes up with the menu items?
Drew comes up with that.
So he's 100% or does he come to you and say, hey, he tastes this, what do you think?
He has us taste stuff. He comes up with the menu and has us taste stuff, and we kind of give opinions back and forth and try to work together on that too. Yeah, he's really keen on our vision, and so he's been working on keeping that vision alive in the kitchen as well.
So, Bud, will there, being that you're a full butchery that has the meats, you have the tallow, you have the sweetbread, you have the ribs, you have you have everything right there. Will you start incorporating like some of the other types of products like lamb and some of these kind of specialties?
Yes, definitely. We are going to work with some lamb growers, and so that's the goal with this shop. It's so diversified that even down to custom splitting and everything else for people. And then we're going to go USDA here pretty soon, so we can do some custom labels. And
now, what does that mean? Tell me what that means.
Custom label. So if there's other ranchers and farmers that want to grow their own animals and be able to go to farmers markets and sell their own product, kind of like what we're doing, that we can be able to help them process their animals.
So you guys are going to be USDA certified, so then therefore they can bring you the livestock.
They can bring us their carcasses. We can package it for them so that they can have that USDA seal that it's been inspected, and they can resell that.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because right now we're just under state, so anybody that came in to have their animal processed, it would just be for yourself.
Yeah,
right.
So if you wanted to resell, we have to wait till we're USDA.
Wow. I think there's only one other here.
Yeah, there's one other.
There's one other here.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are over there in the valley, right?
Yeah.
So this is going to be pretty big, especially. I mean, we have a pretty big, I'd say, livestock, area in the North County between the fairs, the kids, and the ranches. So this will be huge. And I know a lot of people have reached out to me, asking,
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today. We can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805